Disclaimer. The hosts of this podcast, Timothy Patrick and Will Foley, are by no means professionals. However, having lived experience with mental illness themselves, they have gained useful perspectives on common mental health issues that some of us struggle to overcome on a daily basis. By sharing their stories, they hope to create connection. By creating connection, they hope to help you find your purpose. And through purpose, we can all begin to build the foundations for positive mental health. This is the Above Ground Podcast.
Are you ready to lace up your boots, throw up your horns, and jump into the pit? Then let's stomp the stigmas of mental illness. It's time for Above Ground Podcast. Now, Will Foley and Timothy Patrick.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Above Ground Podcast.
Above Ground Podcast, because you can't serve below.
What's up? You know whose voice that is? That's TPP. You down with TPP?
Yeah, you know me.
What's up, Timmy?
Another day, another daily, another
daily what?
I don't know.
I was like, what? Where's he going with that? Another daily. I'm like, there's lots of things you can do daily.
I don't know.
There's some things that I do daily that you may not want to repeat all day. I don't know.
Probably not. But I tried to come up with something quick on the spot and it didn't work. So
that's all right. Sometimes it doesn't come all together.
Okay. I'm okay. How are you, Will?
Hey, dude, you know what? I may not be okay, but it's okay to not be okay. And you know why it's okay to not be okay? Because this month in September, which is the month we're in, is Suicide Awareness Month. Suicide Awareness Week being the 6th through the 12th. That's National Suicide Awareness Week. World Awareness Day is September 10th. But the whole month is dedicated to suicide awareness. And what I've learned in my journey of suicide prevention and being in this space and learning from my own experience is that a shaky, cracked foundation will often come back to haunt you later on.
I would agree to that 100%.
And if we don't repair cracks in our foundation, water gets into the basement. It can lead to your house falling down. What does your inner foundation do? And what happens when those cracks aren't repaired? The ultimate house falls down. Mm-hmm. And how do we repair a shaky foundation? And what goes into repairing a shaky foundation? And can a shaky foundation really ever be repaired? Or do you have to tear down the house and rebuild the whole thing? Or is it something you can jack up and replace some of the layers of?
That's an excellent question. I think it might depend on the house itself. It might depend on the surroundings, the environment that the house is on.
Yeah, I get that, but unfortunately, you can't always move the house from the neighborhood it's in, man. So it's either you learn to live in your neighborhood or you move out. And oftentimes, you can't move out.
But I feel like if the foundation is something that you can fix, I feel like, especially if you do the fixing, there's a lot more love and care for that house in the end.
Yeah, I could see that.
I
have a love-hate relationship with housework. And I don't mean housework as in cleaning and doing dishes, because I have no problem with dusting, vacuuming, all that stuff. I was never taught how to take care of a house as far as repairing stuff. It makes me feel emasculated when I can't do something. And it does.
No,
I'm not kidding, dude. I'm trying to do stuff, and I'm not doing it right. And it's like, and that
usually just if you set aside in your head, if you set aside, I can do this probably in an hour, just take that and double it.
Oh, fuck no. Double it by like 3 days.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it took me 2 days to get a sink into my bathroom, in my master bathroom, because I had to cut part of the cabinet, all this other stuff I was not even thinking that I was going to have to do, and it drives you insane. And it's like, okay, but I got it done.
Right.
Yes, I got it done, and every piece of that pipe I put on myself, and yes, I felt good about it. I felt good about like all the repairs I've done at my house. However, there's still certain things that, even though I fix them, I look at them and I know they're not right.
That's because you're,
so it's
you know what I mean?
So
you're
what happens when you look at your foundation that's been cracked due to one of, who knows, maybe one or many things?
Well, let me just say this. Doing that kind of work, excavating wrecks, updating things, learning new tricks, getting new tools to do the job. That shit ain't easy. You know what else? It takes time.
Then it also takes the tools.
And it takes the tools.
Because you were just saying tools. And
Yeah,
I will say this, because I don't have half the tools that
sometimes
you're supposed
if you go
name.
to do the job,
I don't even know what tools I need.
I was just going to say, sometimes you go to do a job, you don't even know what tools you need till you start the job. And then you get like, elbow deep and you're like, wait a minute, I think I need this. Then you got to phone a friend or use a lifeline. But sometimes there's not.
Sometimes it's hard to use a lifeline, though, man. It's hard to like. I find it easier to ask for help in certain things. Actually, you know what? It's a lie. I don't find it easy to. I don't find it easy to ask for help at all.
Real and raw, ladies and gentlemen.
That's what this is, man. This is a real conversation.
You tuned into the Above Ground podcast. This is real conversations.
Yes, about our own neuroses, illnesses, crises, disorders.
And today we're talking about a shaky foundation. Whether it's cracks, worn, abused, weather. There could be some trauma lingering in there that's not taken care of. If you didn't do any routine maintenance on it, then that might be something that could be a variable in it. I didn't see that. Did you have something?
No, dude. You pretty much hit on everything
okay.
I wrote down, actually.
Oh, okay, sorry.
That's why I was doing. I'm like, wait a second. I just wrote all that down.
And then again, if whoever built the house, maybe they poured the foundation wrong, or they didn't build it properly.
They didn't let it cure.
They didn't let it cure. Maybe they didn't finish the job. It was only half done. So you know what? But when it's your house now, so it doesn't matter who did that, who's at fault for the foundation. Now it's your house, so it's your job to fix it.
Yeah, it's your responsibility.
It's your responsibility.
You got it.
So if again, we're not talking about houses here.
No, we're talking about ourselves. We're talking about our emotional selves. But our emotional house, man, when there's cracks in the foundation, it's very noticeable.
Yeah, things can sneak in.
Things sneak in. Rodents sneak in.
The gremlins sneak in.
The gremlins sneak in.
Once they start multiplying, forget it.
Yeah, you're left with one gremlin one day. You wake up, you're surrounded by them.
That's what happens.
Don't feed them after midnight. Don't throw any water on them.
So some things that I wrote down here that I feel could be variables in having a shaky foundation could be, maybe growing up you moved numerous times as a child, so you were changing schools a lot, and maybe some of those schools had poor education. Economic factors, I think, are definitely in there.
Oh, yeah, insecurity of any sort.
Yeah. few
Be
friends.
it food, money,
Food,
money,
Yep.
and security.
Yeah. Or
Anything.
even just poor social skills in general.
Well, or not even just poor social skills. Because, and I think, so we're talking about shaky foundations.
Right.
But if you tell somebody that they have poor communication skills, that plays into their part. So the problem with that is that you can't necessarily fix the foundation when you're constantly told how bad the foundation is either.
Well, you just wrote the story of my life right there. That's it. That's my life right there in one sentence.
You know, and
yeah. Well, why are you like this? Well, I don't know, because maybe let's record the conversation that we had a week ago, and I'll tell you why I'm like this. For Christ's sakes, why do you think that? I don't know, because you said it 16 times. Shit. So I think all that stuff. Actually going into, we can elaborate on that. That creates what we call a loop.
Right, it creates a loop, that loop just keeps repeating every four beats, every 4 measures.
So I guess maybe in your childhood, growing even a young adult, you were building this limbic jukebox.
Yep, and you were putting all the hits in it.
Right.
But all the hits weren't the greatest hits. All the hits were the negative hits.
Right.
All the hits were the you're not good enough, you're not tall enough, you're not beautiful enough, you're not smart enough, you're not skinny enough, you're not fast enough, you're not this, you're not. Those are the greatest hits of the negative limbic jukebox.
Yes. And they're really not the greatest, though. That's the problem. But
That's right.
we spin those records, and
you spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby. Right
as they
round.
spin, we listen to them, and we may not even realize it. But as we're listening to them, that those words are ingrained into our mind, and they create habits.
Like making a piece of vinyl. When that vinyl goes through that machine and those songs get etched onto that vinyl,
Grooved
dude,
in
that's
there.
what you're doing, man. You're running those grooves over and over and over again, and those grooves are just becoming really, really easy to fall into because that needle just slides in there like jelly.
like jelly. And the problem is sometimes you can find comfort in those old records.
We do. We find comfort in those old records. I find comfort in a lot of those old feelings.
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's a lot easier to feel shitty because shitty is something that you're used to than it is to feel good.
Well, plus it's easy.
It's easy.
It's easy.
It's easy.
I think you nailed it. It's easier to feel shitty. It's easier to turn and get burst in anger. It's easier for that stuff. It's right there. It's you don't even have to.
Me reacting, dude, is like a 70s kid with a fucking easy bake oven. Boom! I'm making a goddamn chocolate cake. You know what I mean?
You heard it here, folks. 70s easy bake oven. That's right. Yeah. We're going to be giving out 50 free easy bake ovens.
No, we're not. I don't even know if they're making them anymore.
I don't know. Yeah, they
were making them again.
They were?
Yeah, dude, some company started making easy bake ovens again. They started making the Evel Knievel jump cycle.
Yeah? Cool.
Yeah, and bitch, I didn't buy it.
Yeah, I'm surprised, actually.
Yeah, so am I.
Evil Knievel.
Yeah, stupid ass. Me.
Well, I think sometimes if you go into your basement and maybe clean up a little bit, declutter, minimize what you have.
Get an exterminator.
Yeah, you could get an exterminator.
You got to get an exterminator, man. You got to get an exterminator to get those negativity thoughts out of your body.
Yeah.
You got to clear that basement because you can't get to the foundation if you can't even get to the foundation. You got to be able to get to the foundation in order to see the house.
Right.
And see the cracks in it.
Right. And I think we, as it always goes back to, is being mindful. I think you have to be aware that what is there, what job you are going to partake in.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I think cleaning, though, I think trying to get your foundation straightened out. It's a very hard job. And, you know, and I know
yeah,
in
for
like,
sure. It takes discipline. It takes consistent work, you know, and the right tools.
right. But if you don't have the right tools.
Right.
But that's the thing, though. And I think, so how do we set people to find the right tools? I mean, aside from listening to us, of course.
Yeah. Listen to us. Listen to our past episodes.
Yeah.
Well, I think, you know, it would depend on where you are. You know, if we have some listeners that are in the area, I know there's a peer group available. There is, you know, if you go onto social media, you can use it for positive things. Like there are some good pages dedicated to either Buddhism, kindness, DBT, CBT.
There's lots of good pages out there, man. There's lots of good stuff on the internet that you can find. You just have to dig and look for it.
And you know, again, it's going to take time and it's going to take effort on your part to not only seek out these things, but you know, read them and you know, you can't. Again, we've said it a million times, and we'll probably say it a million more. There's no 3 easy steps to this. You know, when you
there ain't even 3.
When you rehab
there might be a whole staircase.
When you rehab a house, it gets messy, and you're gonna get dirty.
Oh yeah, dust. You're gonna have to demo.
Yeah,
I will say this. So perfect. Demoing is one of the most awesome things ever. I literally just tore down a closet in my garage.
Nice.
Recently, like my wife got this idea of taking this thing down, and the people that owned our house prior had put they framed this spot in to make a closet in my garage. Mm-hmm. They used the wall, so they only had to put one frame up, but they drywalled it in. I mean, they did a really good job with it. So we're like, there's nothing behind it. So she starts knocking into it, and she's like, here, you want a shot at it? And I was like, I'll take a shot at it. Not only did I take the shot at it, I decided to tear the rest of the thing out.
Alrighty.
But again, that left this hole that now I have to fill. And I don't necessarily know the tool. I even reached out to somebody that I know, sent them pictures, said, what do I do? And they're like, well, you got to do this, this, and this. You're going to need this, this, and this. And I'm like, I don't even know what that shit is.
Okay, but here you go. There's a perfect example. Like you were saying, how does one gather tools?
You ask questions.
You ask questions, but you know, ask somebody that might, you know, if
reach out to someone who knows what you're looking for.
Not even what you're looking for, just in that, like, if you're looking for a plumber, it may not be a special plumber that you need for this job, but I think in general, a plumber might know a basis of what you need and can lead you in the right direction if they can't help you themselves.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Find a medical professional.
But a plumber knows plumbing. You're not going to ask a plumber about electrical.
Sure.
So I think that's what you're saying is you find the person you find the right source for the right information.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, a general contractor can probably tell you a lot about a lot of things, but they may not be able to go into the detail that, say, a plumber could about certain plumbing or an electrician could about certain things. The general contractor may know about these things, and they may even be specialized in certain things, but they don't have to be as specialized in everything like certain trades have to be specifically for that one thing. That's why a lot of general contractors hire electricians, hire outside people, or have people that, because they don't specialize in that. They can put up the frames, they can do the demoing, they can do the taping, they can put up the foundation, they can get everything ready. They just can't put all the insides together.
So maybe have a struggle buddy in place.
Yeah, you got to have a teammate.
You know,
you got to have somebody on your. You got to have somebody on your construction squad. There's got to be somebody on there that you can turn to. And again, we say this all the time because this is about connection. That if you don't know of anybody that is willing to be that person for you, try to seek out someone who could use that help that you know. And I know some people are probably scratching their heads going, well, if they don't, like, how's that going to work? The idea is that even if you may feel that you don't have anybody you can turn to, okay? And that could be very well true. And you could be listening to this just to feel like you have people that are listening to, and we are. But what I suggest to you is that you pay it forward by finding someone who could use that same help. If somebody can't help you, then you go help somebody else, because that will help you.
Mm-hmm. Sure will.
Now that doesn't mean that you're going to have all the answers, but the thing is that the two of you may be able to find answers together.
Correct.
And then you can build a better foundation, because you'll realize that the cracks in the foundation that were set for you were set by, your unmet needs, your unstable environment, your insecurity, your abuse, your neglect, your trauma. But you aren't the only one who's felt those things. And it's pretty easy to find nowadays someone who can relate to all of that. And it's about having a real conversation, man. And I know we talk about real conversation and what is real conversation and what is all this nonsense. Actually, Real Convo is a hashtag that was set up by AFSP, which is an initiative that they have about having a real conversation. And they put up a bunch of memes and stuff. And I read an interesting meme today about suicide prevention is more than posting memes. And it is kind of ironic that a lot of it is sharing stuff. But there's a lot of that nowadays because we're so etched. We're so enamored. We're so enthralled. We're so engulfed in social media that, of course, you're going to see that stuff. And yes, I from our standpoint, yes, it's genuine. And I would like to think that most people it's genuine. You have to be the judge of who's genuine and who's not. Okay, I can tell you this, AFSP is a genuine organization that stands by what they do. All their money goes to all the programming and everything. And real conversations are important because the thing, like we talked about in a few episodes a while ago about the mask, we want everybody to think that our life is perfect. We want everybody to think we got our shit together. We want everybody to think that everything is just great and, we're dancing through life and woohoo, we're skipping and the rainbows are jumping, and it's not that way. It's not that way, and I guarantee you it's not even that way for the people that portray that way. And even the people who portray that way, it could be even worse.
So how I'm kind of going off of the tools and trying to put some tools out there for people. How can somebody get a hold of the Real Convo? Is there a
Real Convo is just an initiative.
Okay.
It's more about learning how to have a real conversation.
Okay, it's just more of awareness.
It's more about awareness and saying to somebody else, look, you may be feeling down right now, and I've been there. I don't know how down you are, so I can't say that I've been as down. Like, I don't know what you're feeling, but I've felt the same thing.
Right.
That's what having a real conversation is all about.
And what is, if, like you were saying earlier, if someone doesn't have somebody, if someone doesn't feel that they don't have somebody, or if they really don't have somebody, what is our email? They can always email us and have a conversation.
Our email is abovegroundpodcast@gmail.com. That's our email address. If you ever want to just send us a message to say, hey, I'm struggling, if you just need some, just somebody to listen to you and you want to write, send us an email, man. abovegroundpodcast@gmail.com. I read everything we get. It takes me a while to get through everything, but it's not because I don't want to. So just be patient with me.
Yeah. But either way,
but it's something for you to think about if you don't have anybody else.
It can even help just writing the email.
Sure, and just write it right. Just the act of sitting down at a computer and banging out how you're feeling. You may not even send the email. you could just write it out, and all of a sudden, oh my God, I feel like a weight's been lifted off my shoulders.
Right.
Because sometimes that's all it really takes.
Right.
Is just that act of doing something.
So now going back, I'm going to go back a little bit to, routine maintenance. Like, maybe if let's say that you already went through the wreckage and you had somebody come in and help, and they actually poured a new foundation. They went in, they waterproofed your basement walls on the interior, and you're good. So now to the next step is routine maintenance. I feel like you have to check in on those cracks every now and then, and you have to be aware that they were there. And maybe if there's a corner that has a problem, maybe if there's a window, sometimes windows like to let some water in or something,
Yeah.
Just keep an eye on those sensitive spots. Maybe
Sure.
we'll call
Clear
them.
the weeds.
Clear
the weeds. Maybe, make sure that, there's not a lot of standing water around your foundation.
Yeah. And I think one of the main reasons why I'm saying this is because, September being Suicide Awareness Month, I feel that one huge variable is routine maintenance. Because when you get to a point that you are so low, you may not want to, you may not think you can, and it might not even cross your mind. You're so low about emailing somebody or reaching out. So it's almost like what's the word? Like almost like a proactive process,
It's not like it is a proactive process.
Okay.
Just the act of sitting down to do that would be enough positivity to. Now you may not see it immediately, but the act of sitting down to write that email may prompt you the next day to say, "Oh shit, I should really reach out to this person," because for some reason I just feel like since I wrote that email last night, even though I didn't send it, even though it's sitting in my drafts folder, that kind of got me thinking about this other person, and they haven't talked to me in a while, and I haven't talked to them in a while, but we always checked in on each other. Maybe I should check in on them, and that may actually just set into motion the dominoes to fall the right way for you to get to all those next levels. And look, man, there's no time. There's no life is difficult. There's no sugarcoating that, man. Life is hard for people.
Yeah.
I would love to be Mr. Positivity and be like, oh, it's gonna be all good, and stop looking at the truth, because the truth is you need to be positive. No, you can't be positive all the time, man. You can't, because that leads into its own negativity in its own way.
Right.
And that's for another episode. But where that plays into how you build on that new foundation is important, because you can't build the same house on the same foundation with the same materials. You can't, because obviously if you built the house that way the first time and the house had cracks in it and the foundation got cracks, well, you can't let it cure the same way. You certainly can't let it
You have to
and it's
new techniques,
new tools,
and they're always improving things as far as different. I don't even know what the word I want to use is. Different materials. They're always improving, newer materials to help with this or to help with that, and again, just to stay up on it. It's let me say this: most people listening, I would think, have a vehicle. So if you own a vehicle and you drive it, you eventually have to change the oil. Maybe the fuel filter. You have to put air in the tires. Window wash fluid. Same thing. It's all because if you wait until that check engine light comes on, you might be in a bad spot. So you want to try and keep up with that routine maintenance before that light comes on.
Yeah, you don't want the light coming on, man. If the light comes on, that means you've got a problem.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean you've got a big problem.
Right.
Depends on orange, red, whatever your lights are. But it's...
And what we want to do, what we do here is take problems and make them smaller problems.
We try to.
Yeah, I think we do.
Yeah, we do our best.
Yeah.
That's all we can ask. We
You're
can't
right.
ask
We
for
do our
much more.
best.
We
You're
do our
right.
best. We do our best.
Yeah, I agree.
We do our best to knock that rock down to a pebble, but it takes a lot of work for that, man.
So what do you think as far as a foundation goes? It depending on the person, do you think, each person is going to have a different, do you think it can be patched up? Do you think it can be fixed? Or do you think sometimes you need to...
It's all up to the individual. And unfortunately for some spots may not be good to build on. It's kind of, look at it this way. It's kind of like the people who build every time there's a flood and they rebuild, but they don't build any higher. And they don't, it's kind of like that. It's like, okay, but do you really, it's insanity.
Well, you can't solve
right. You can't solve the same problem with the same type of same type of thinking, same anything. So I don't necessarily think that I don't think that repairing a foundation is I think it's very important to repair the foundation you have as much as you can.
Good. I like it.
As much as you can.
Yep.
I'm not saying that you're going to repair every crack, because you're not. It's like, and it depends on what, where you are in your life. I mean, if you're looking at whatever you're looking at right now and you're listening to this and you're in your 50s, it's going to be hard to repair cracks in a foundation that were created, 45 years ago, man, because you may not even have like the people aren't the same. Then you have all your life experience. I don't.
agree.
Foundations are very hard to sometimes, but you can't move. The thing is that your foundation comes with you regardless of where you move your house, because this foundation isn't built into a piece of property. It's unfortunately built into you. And this foundation is, if it's shaky, then there's a lot of unclogging of drains and demoing of walls and trying to set up, a different kitchen. And it's...
If I guess I can sum it up with, if you're breathing and if you are able to find days with comfort and you are able to smile often, then you're doing okay.
Dude, I like it. That's awesome. Until next week,
Be well.
be safe.
Be
above.